Well, the Saints had a very wild game. I actually think they had a very optimistic game. I was already high on the Saints coming into this season, and I think they're even better than I expected them to be. They have some growing pains they have to work out, which is, I feel like I say that about every team week one, it seems like. I know people are holding their bad start against them, but I actually don't think that it's totally fair to assume that their bad start is who they are. I think the good finish is who they are. So let me explain exactly what I saw when I watched the all 22 footage, starting off with this play. So one of the things that I feel like one of my weird takeaways, sometimes you get takeaways from the other team that you're not evaluating. I feel like the Falcons should run a lot more man coverage. Like, they're good at it. They have good corners. Play man coverage more. That makes sense to me because this is going to be man coverage. You see the routes that the Saints are running. Jameis Winston is going to take the snap. He looks over, and not a ton is open right now. Keep in mind, this was a cover 0, so Winston has to get rid of the ball quickly. His receiver is going to fall down. Winston does his best to make a throw, but it wasn't going to get there due to the pressure. So the Falcons, they should do this more often, but this is kind of something that happened, was there were times when no one was really getting open. Like something like this is a good example, where this was the one just, I think, clear mistake from Jameis, that he had a really good game. I thought this was his one misstep where it's going to be zone coverage. And you see how it can work. Looking here on this play is the correct read. This is where Winston should be looking. Winston is going to take the snap. He looks in that direction, and you just got to notice that there's a corner who's reading this play well and ready to jump up if you try to make that throw over the top of him. And while Winston does make that throw, I mean, that easily could have been intercepted. It nearly was intercepted, so that's a mistake. Again, kind of set up due to guys not getting open, makes Winston try to make, tougher throws that he probably shouldn't. And let's be honest, Winston is not one of those guys who's going to say, I'm not sure if I can fit the ball through there. He takes the chances, and this time it didn't fully work out. However, another narrative I saw when watching this game, kind of a through line throughout, was sort of him and Michael Thomas slowly getting on the same page throughout the course of the game. Because early on, they were trying to work on their chemistry. It's man coverage, and hey, man coverage, Michael Thomas, probably the best possession receiver in football when healthy, third down and short. This is what Michael Thomas is great at. This is how Michael Thomas won an Offensive Player of the Year, is this exact play, this exact route, this exact concept. Watch how when this play begins, I mean, Thomas is open. Like, this is, again, something a corner is prepared for, but still, you can be prepared for it. It's still another thing to stop it. And I think if Winston puts this one on the money, this is a completion. Now, it's a little bit tough, right? Because ideally, you see the situation and say, oh, you got to lead your receiver, but there's also a player over the middle of the field that's kind of in the way of, right around the 9-yard line, who's kind of in the way of Winston's perfect route, so he can't completely throw it there. Now, of course, he could have had he gotten rid of the ball a little earlier and stuff like that, so that's where things get a little bit interesting, but watch what happens when he does throw it. It's just a bit behind Thomas, and I think we saw this a couple times where they seemingly were just not quite on the same page early on, but then once they got on the same page, which we will get to, that's when things started to work a lot better. Like, of course, the touchdown right here, it's going to be a one-on-one matchup, and this is where it felt like, throughout the game, they were just slowly getting better and better at being on the same page, at getting this stuff down, and to this point, they seemingly look like they had played together for 10 years. Watch how Michael Thomas is going to get the outside leverage immediately. Winston notices that, and so, again, the decision isn't just, do you make the throw to your receiver? It's also, where do you put the ball? And he's going to say, okay, well, if you have the outside leverage, I'm going to throw it to the outside. It's a great throw from Winston. It's a great catch from Michael Thomas. And, this wasn't the where the game turned. It turned a little bit earlier, but this was a big way that the game was able to turn and way that they were able to come back and win this game, was because Winston just sort of slowly understood how these guys operate and how these guys tick, playing a game with, guys that a lot of them he hasn't played with that much, if at all, before. Now, another way that they were able to be effective is just, I thought the soft spots in the Falcons zone just really opened up. That's kind of the main thing, I thought. And the reality is, Winston has always been great when teams basically just play a base coverage. If you do that against him, you're in trouble. He's always done a great job at this stuff. And, Michael Thomas, it's essentially the same play that I showed you earlier where he almost threw an interception. However, this time it's better ran by Michael Thomas to where he is in a spot where he is going to get past the defensive player who could potentially undercut the route. And so because of that, now when Winston makes this throw, they were able to push the ball down the field. And to me, this is something that I just think that the Saints will be able to consistently do. Also, I read the number wrong. It's not 13, it's 83. Juwan Johnson was the guy there. But hey, listen, if I'm confusing you for Michael Thomas, you probably take that as a compliment. So Juwan Johnson, a good job there on that play to be able to get open, but also just kind of, stop spots open up for the Falcons that allowed them to pick up some big chunk plays and was a big part of how they were able to finish off this comeback. Like, this play is going to be another good example where it's going to be a cover 3 zone, again, that the Falcons are in, and I feel like, soft spots open up, especially with a concept like this, and this is where Winston really thrives. It's going to be the number 2 receiver, so the receiver who is second closest towards the sideline, the one who's kind of running over the middle, that's Jarvis Landry, and watch how open he gets. I mean, look, right when this play begins, Landry runs this route well. You also, I think, would maybe like to see a little bit better defense, but again, you're exploiting the soft spots in the zone. You're figuring out what they're good at covering, what they're not good at covering, and hitting the parts that they're not good at covering. You're getting better as the game goes along, and that's a positive attribute, not a negative one. So when Winston does make this throw, they're able to pick up, again, a big chunk play. And when you're down 16 in the fourth quarter, you need chunk plays to be picked up, and that's exactly what they were able to do. So the Falcons did counter this. They said, listen, this zone, they figured it out. We got to start doing other stuff. But it was an amazing job by the Saints of, like, the first play they started playing man, the Saints had this concept, which is a perfect concept to beat man coverage. 2 receivers running over the middle. You have another receiver running towards his left and kind of the underneath route, which is Michael Thomas. That's the one that Winston is going to want to look towards. I don't know if this is true, but my guess would be that what the Saints did was they said, hey, if they start playing man coverage, Winston just flipped to, change the play call to this play call, which is, I'm assuming, what happened. There are ways you can tell what coverage it is before the snap, like putting a guy in motion, and if someone follows him, then it's man, things like that. I don't know if that's what happened. The play call didn't, the camera angle didn't show it, but I would assume that probably was what happened. But watch how when Winston takes the snap, you do see Michael Thomas is about to get wide open. Again, good play call. And you're also going to see just a great throw from Jameis Winston, great catch from Michael Thomas. They pick up the big chunk play, and that was on a 3rd down and short. So listen, Michael Thomas, early on, not being able to pick up those 3rd downs. Later on, easily picking up the 3rd downs like it's nothing and getting touchdowns as well. These are the kind of things that the Saints are, I think, only going to get better at. So it's not how you start, it is how you finish. And I think that I'm not concerned about their bad start because they showed me that they fixed the issues with their bad start in their great finish. And that's why I'm still optimistic about the Saints offense especially. We all expected the Saints defense to be great. It was actually a bit underwhelming week 1, but if their defense does end up being great and this is what their offense could be, the sky is the limit for this team. So I'm very high on the Saints team and how good they can be. But that's what I think. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts on the Saints? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.